I'm Dr. Philippa Gates, an associate professor in film studies from Wilfrid Laurier University. I'm also the president of the Film Studies Association of Canada, as well as the program chair. The annual conference for us is really important, I think especially in Canada, because we're such a large country, and we have graduate students and faculty members across the country in different universities and colleges, and this is one of the few opportunities where we can all come together and share our research and network and get to know one another, and so actually for us it's really the big highlight of the year.
I think that there's been a long history in scholarship, again, up until I guess, late 70s, early 80s, of seeing music as something that's subservient to narrative, or subservient to the image at least. And fortunately that framework has been turned on its head, and I think scholars have shown that no, music actually constructs narrative and it actively shapes our understanding of characters. And so that's one thing I'm trying to show in my paper, that it's not just that the techno music of the Chemical Brothers score is adding some energy to the scene, right? But that it actually is setting up a clear contrast or a clear challenge to Hannah's character that she will overcome through experiences with other music. So it actively shapes her character, especially the on-screen diegetic performances of music. They transform her character. She becomes more human in the terms that the film sets for defining human.
My name is Jingjing Chang. I teach film studies at Wilfrid Laurier University. My focus is on Asian cinema, world cinemas, and colonial studies. Today our workshop was about the prophecy of 1997 in Hong Kong cinema, and we discussed the continuities as well as the ruptures in contemporary Hong Kong films. My topic in particular is on An Hui, who is a famous female director, and how we can learn much about Hong Kong society through her films. And I believe that in her films we can see a strong continuity in the strength of Hong Kong films today.
My name is Russell Kilbourne. I'm an associate professor in English and Film Studies at Wilfrid Laurier University. My area of specialization is film theory, and for the last few years I've been focusing almost exclusively on memory, both in terms of the representation of memory in cinema and also how our memories are, in a sense, constituted cinematically. And as I've been working on that, I keep sort of running into questions of adaptation. This is one of the other big areas I keep sort of coming up against. So I guess back in the winter when people were putting together their panel proposals for this Congress, I ran into Patrick, and we were talking, and the idea came up of co-presenting a panel that we would share together. And we very quickly somehow got around to, on the one hand, adaptation. It would be good to do that, and Patrick can talk about that. And on the other, we wanted to talk about adaptation in terms of cinema, where we are now in cinema history, in a kind of post-cinematic moment determined by digital media.
My name is Patrick Faubert. I'm a PhD candidate in the Department of English and Film at Wilfrid Laurier University. I'm currently writing my dissertation, which is on film adaptation in general, but the specific focus is on film adaptation in Hollywood during the 1930s, specifically at Warner Brothers between 1934 and 1941. But I still think that film adaptation across the history of cinema is a really important area of scholarly inquiry. And so that was sort of the genesis for this panel in one sense. I think that adaptation gives rise to the opportunity to think about some of the sort of more focused or really important questions about cinema, where it draws its material, where it might draw its style, what might its relations with other media be in a sensuous sense, what might they be in an intertextual sense, a process of exchange. And those are the questions I wanted to get at with the panel. Of course, placing it in the context of post-cinema is really timely and important because it's timely, because it's where the history of cinema is located now.
Hi, my name is Dr. Sandra Annett, and I'm a professor in the Department of English and Film Studies at Wilfrid Laurier University. My area of expertise is digital and new media studies, so looking at how these new digital formats are interacting with the traditional discipline of film studies. And my topic of presentation today at Congress is very much related to that. I'll be presenting on some digital cinema films, Hugo by Martin Scorsese and Paprika by Satoshi Kon, a Japanese animation director. And I'll be looking at how, even as these films are really pushing the limits of digital effects, they're returning to the old cinemas, to silent cinema, to Super 8 cinema, and very much looking at the materiality of the cinema. So you hear the sound of the film projector clicking, and you see the graininess and the scratchiness of the film as characters remember their past. And there's very much a sense of loss in these films, a sense of nostalgia, of looking back. So in Hugo, the loss of silent cinema is connected with the death of his father. In Paprika, the loss of Super 8 cinema is connected with the loss of a film career and a best friend. So we get this sense that there's always something that's slipping away from the digital, but always also something that remains, something that we're trying to recapture in it. So even as we're transitioning into this new medium, there's a sense that what remains, what is left behind, still has power. And digital cinema can bring us back to that and create that connection, that bridge between cinema's historical memory and the new media technologies that are developing.
This is really exciting for me to be presenting this, and I'm especially excited to have Nicole Thomas here to play for us today. I actually met Nicole in Pordenone, and for those of you who know that, it's a silent film festival that happens every October in Italy. And they have a program called the Masterclass, where two accomplished pianists are taught how to do silent film accompaniment. And that is actually how I met Nicole, who was one of the Masterclass students this year. And it made me realize the importance of collaborating between musical studies and film studies. And so I think bringing Nicole here really highlights that the need to have a conversation between the two disciplines. And so I think it's really exciting that the Film Studies Association of Canada and the University Music Society was able to put this, co-host this event.
This is the musician that said it, because when I first saw the film, I made myself what I called cue sheets before I received these ones, and they would contain just little lists of scenes. And I thought if I was clever, I would have put 4 bars of my own music to the side, and that would be what these cue sheets are. But really, a musician needs to know a little bit more than the right hand and 4 bars to know what he or she is really meant to be playing. If it was me that had written it, then I'd know right away, oh yeah, that's that theme, this theme. But I can't literally put myself back in the place of 1926, the composer